You're really actually pushing hate and bigotry, man.
Which is what? Hate against whom?
Definitely towards Jewish people.
I know. How is that offensive?
Because women, if they want to go to college, should want to go to college. They should be able to go to college.
But how does that offend people? Why is that offensive? Okay, and there it is again with the personal attacks. Maybe this is a reason for anti-Semitism, I think.
Right away, you can feel the tension in this room. Nick keeps asking one simple question. What did I actually say that's hateful? And whether you agree with him or not, that question shifts the burden back onto the panel. Instead of broad labels, he keeps demanding specifics. And that's where things start getting uncomfortable, because once you move from accusations to definitions, the conversation gets a lot more complicated.
I just find it rich that, you know, that you're doing this, Nick, because I think
doing
that,
what?
Nick, in your Telegram group, you've extensively made the joke that you're using comedy as a cover to shield you, that these people are all stupid, they don't figure out what you're doing, but you know what you're doing. And I think Michael was right.
What am I doing?
You're really actually pushing hate and bigotry, man.
Which is what? Hate against whom?
Definitely towards Jewish people.
In what way? I just got done saying I have Jewish friends.
Pearl is my friend. I was on Pearl's show. Did you see when Pearl got attacked on Piers Morgan?
I did, yeah.
And if you looked at Pearl's Twitter, she literally put a Jewish guy on her Twitter and said, "I can't wait to have you back on the show." I made jokes on women for about 2 hours, 3 hours straight in London a month ago, and she laughed.
That's great. How am I pushing hate?
Hold on, and she laughed. So when she made a song about the Jewish people, I said,
we'll play the clip.
I said, okay, fine. I mean, just like Chappelle made jokes about Jewish people. I said, fine. But I think, you know, to Pearl's credit, she's here making songs that are, I found offensive, but I supported her freedom of speech.
Well, why was that offensive? Why was that song offensive?
Well, let's play the clip, and we can have this conversation. Did you want to weigh in before we play the clip?
I just want to say one more thing.
Well, don't go off topic, because we're going to go to this clip.
But can I defend myself a little bit?
How
How about this, guys? Since I'm on your guys' show, when can I play the clip that we're talking about here?
About 5 minutes.
When can I play the clip that we've teed up?
Can we put it-
That you guys are literally discussing. You guys tell me how to run my show.
I'll let you know.
How do you
take a smoke break
how do you
real quick.
claim that you are not sexist? And look, I'm not a feminist by any means, believe me. But how can you claim that you're not sexist when you say comments and you mean them like women should not go to college? Is that not...
What does sexism mean to you?
Would the average person or the average female, Republican, Democrat, black, white, green, blue, who has gone to college, would they be offended by something like that you believe? I'm not saying you shouldn't say it. You have the right to say it.
I know.
But is that not what you is that not offensive?
Okay. What does that mean, offensive? When I say that women should be mothers instead of go to college, how does that offend you?
No, you said women shouldn't go to college, and we talked about education.
That's what I just said. You're
But then
living
I
proof of why
said-
women shouldn't go to college. Let me just tell you that.
I'm living proof why women shouldn't go to college.
Yeah,
Wait.
because college...
If you don't want the
You're
personal
special.
attacks, then don't give the personal.
what
If
if
you
I
don't want the
said-
personal attacks, then don't give the
What if
personal.
I said-
I'm being
what if
If you don't want the
I
personal
said-
attacks, then don't give the
What if
personal.
I
being
said that
personally
you're
attacked.
living
You've been
proof?
paying attention.
What if
Oh, sure.
what
No,
if
I
I
have.
said that?
Catalina, Nick,
what if-
go ahead.
What
Have a
if,
conversation.
what if I said that you were living
Unbelievable.
proof why
Because I
women
just
shouldn't
said-
stay home and raise children?
You asked me-
because
you
clearly
said it's offensive.
you were kind of raised a little weird at this
You
point.
said it's offensive, and I said, what's offensive about saying women should stay at home and raise families instead of go to college? And you said, that's not what you said. You said women shouldn't go to college.
You did say that. That can be taken
And I'm saying,
in
how's
a
that
million
offensive?
other ways.
I'm saying, how's that offensive?
If you go back to what he said, he was correlating the two and saying the reason why they shouldn't go to college is
Right.
because he believes in reinstilling those values.
Well, just let me answer. How's that offensive?
Okay, so if I've been out of college for now 10 years and I'm still not married with children, how is that?
How is
did
it
me going to
offensive?
college impact not having a family and
Well, you don't have a family.
right? So how did that impact? How did me going to college? And then you talk about God and you're God fearing. What about God's role in finding a partner? What about God's timing? What about those things?
I'm asking you simply
So-
because you said it's offensive. How is what I said offensive?
You said that women should not go to college.
I know. How is that offensive?
This is where the debate turns interesting. The word offensive gets thrown around a lot, but no one really defines it. Nick keeps pressing. How is it offensive? Why is it offensive? And you can see the disconnect. One side is arguing about feelings, the other is arguing about principles. That's usually where modern debates fall apart, not because people hate each other, but because they're arguing from completely different frameworks.
Because women, if they want to go to college, should want to go to college. They should be able to go to college.
But how does that offend people? Why is that offensive?
You don't think that that would be offensive to women if
Well, you're
if
answering the
somebody
question with a question. You said it. How is it offensive?
Because it's people should be able to pursue what they want to pursue, and
you can believe
you're
that,
basically
but it's not
saying
offensive.
you're basically saying that women shouldn't be
Can I try
educated.
to sell this real quick? And it's just a disagreement of beliefs. What she's saying is a woman's right to be educated has some place in weight versus her ability to have children. And what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you, which is if she gets educated, the likelihood of her putting off childbirth is there. So it's one of these things: 6 dozen, 1 half, 6 and 1, whatever. I'm fucked up. Sorry. One of the situations here is when you say this, what you find offensive is the concept of him saying that you can't have children, and that this is pushing it back, and you should have the choice. And what you're saying is that shouldn't be offensive at all because you're just making a statement, and that's your opinion. That's it. Because otherwise, you guys are just going to keep saying the same thing over
By the way,
and over.
guys, here's the deal, because we're going to move on. Here's the deal. Here's what I think. You think that women shouldn't go to college, yes?
Yeah.
You think that women should go to college.
Do whatever they want to do.
Here's what I'll say. I think that women should 1,000,000% have the freedom to choose what they want to do with their life.
Yeah.
At the same time, I do think that women should put a way bigger priority on having more family values, motherhood, and being a good wife and being a good mother than being a boss babe. But at the same
So there's a
time,
middle ground.
at the same time, if they choose to not have kids and not have a family, I've argued with Chelsea Handler online about this. That's their choice to their detriment. Well, that's my opinion.
I think there's a middle ground, but I think one of the other things is, like you said before, you want men and women as teenagers to get married and start having children.
Absolutely.
You want them as teenagers to start having babies.
Yeah.
Nick, you said you would actually marry.
And now it's back to this personal attack.
No, but Nick, you
Let's
did.
hear it.
Nick, you said you were ready that you would one day marry a teenage girl, and that actually makes sense because, you look like a teenage boy that would probably molest himself.
Okay, and there it is again with the personal attacks. Maybe this is a reason for anti-Semitism. I think. Because you're a very obnoxious person. I came here respectfully, polite, and you're coming on here with personal attacks, drive-by shots.
You're getting the defensive
Because
again
it's
about the
totally
child born and the homosexuality.
I came here for a debate, and you come on here saying I look like a teenager, and this is not.
Guys,
I mean, you do look like you have a micro penis.
Okay.
And then it drops. The personal attacks start flying. This is usually the moment when debates stop being productive. When arguments shift from ideas to insults, everyone loses. What's interesting, though, is how fast the tone changes. You go from policy and philosophy straight into middle school level jabs. And once that happens, it's hard to bring the conversation back up.
Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do here. Guys, here's what we're going to do here. Let's keep this high level.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Super high level.
No, meaning let's keep it high level. And what I'll say is let's avoid the personal attacks.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
What I will say is...
Stop saying you respect me because
Nick, it's just comedy. Nick, it's just sensational.
But that's fine. But what I will say is, like, you did also go to, like, I don't give a fuck what this guy is. He's just a brown dude. I don't know, whatever. I don't care that he's Jewish or not.
I don't know who he is either.
So, but that's my point. You went to the lowest, like, well, maybe that's why people don't like Jews. Like,
after calling me
I get it.
Nick, you straight
and that
up,
was low class on his end. But that's like if you did something that I didn't agree with. I'm like, those fucking Catholics again. Like that.
This is a great show.
Adam, Nick,
guys, here's what we're gonna do.
You're right. On the Zoom call before, you're right.
Nick, could you at least address this? You literally said that the entire country of India smells like shit.
That's true. It does smell bad. You're going to tell me Delhi doesn't smell bad? They got 1.5 billion people, and they're all crammed together on one train. It doesn't smell bad?
It's the curry.
Come on, man.
With spices?
It's spices.
What's good for the goose is what's good for the gander, man.
Okay.
And I'm playing
We're about to get to super chats.
Nick,
By the way, everyone, we're about to read super chats in 30 seconds.
Nick, I totally agree with you. No personal attacks. I want to do that. But I'm just thinking, like, when I was 24 years old, I didn't enlist into the U.S. military until I was 26. And I didn't have my life figured out. And I'm trying to have empathy for your situation because you've made some pretty life-altering decisions before you're 25 years old, right? There's certain things that I'm sure, I don't know if you wish you could take back, but you're getting a lot of heat, right? And this is going to probably follow you for the rest of your life. You'd agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, you mentioned before there was a possible potential offer for you to work for the Daily Wire. You were a fan of Ben Shapiro, and then all of that was taken away. And I was just me. I'm speaking anecdotally. Maybe you can say the same thing, Adam, if this has been your experience. In my early 20s, I was very impressionable, much more so than I am now at 45 years old. Much more so now than I am as a military veteran. I was very impressionable. Do you think that like the extreme nature to which you go from one end to another may have had like an extreme impact on you, and maybe some overcompensation that happened because I can't imagine being the age you were to have that level of opportunity taken from you? Do you think that that could have like an extreme impact on your opinions?
No, because I can tell you precisely how I get from one point to another.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing, is a lot of people, whenever somebody has views like me, which are so contrary to the establishment, they say the only reason a young person or an intelligent person could go against the system is because, well, obviously something is wrong with them, or they're, hang on,
okay.
or something personal happened
Sure.
to them, or, in other words, that it came from something other than inquiry. But in my case, like I said, I was a person who, I was really huffing the propaganda from Daily Wire and PragerU and all these groups, and then I realized I wasn't getting the full story. I realized there was a totally different angle to it, and like I said, it was my inquiry into that topic, which is why that was taken off the table in the first place. And I'll tell you just a quick example. In December 2016, this is really a big part when it started. They were calling Obama anti-Semitic because he instructed our ambassador to the UN to abstain from a Security Council vote condemning Israel's settlements in the West Bank. And I said, how is it they're calling him anti-Semite? They're saying he hates Jews because he instructed a diplomat to abstain from a vote, which, by the way, is our official policy. It's our official policy since '67 that we think the civilian settlements are illegal, which is what the UN was condemning. So we were doing something consistent with our policy, and yet roundly in conservative circles, they said, well, he hates Jews. He did that because he hates Jews. And I said, wait a second, I don't like Barack Obama. I don't like him as much as the next guy.
They do that for every president, though. Biden's catching heat with Netanyahu, Trump, even though he moved the embassy from
Tel Aviv to
Jerusalem. Yet his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, his wife, is like Obama, George W. Every president's going to get all sorts of allegations. We know that.
Right, but the point is, as I said, how is this any different from when somebody gets called racist for saying something that isn't really racist? Mm-hmm. How is it different from being called Islamophobic for saying something that's not, all
Nick,
the other things?
Let me ask you straight up, because we're going to Nick, let me ask you, and then we move on. I'm going to let you answer this. Ready? Yeah. Here we go. Then we move on.
Okay.
Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Saucecast. Are you a racist?
No.
Okay. Are you anti-Semitic?
No.
Okay. Are you Islamophobe?
No.
Do you hate gays?
No.
Okay. Is there any single individual group you hate more than others?
No. I love all people.
Do you think, do you hate black people?
No.
Okay. Do you think India smells?
That I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
there we go.
Now here's the part that really silenced the room. When Nick starts explaining how he moved from mainstream conservative media into his current positions, he frames it as intellectual inquiry, not rebellion, not anger, not trauma. He's basically saying, I followed the logic where it led me. And whether you agree with his conclusions or not, that's a powerful rhetorical move. Michael tries to humanize it, suggesting maybe early experiences or missed opportunities shaped him. That's actually a fair question. Most people in their early 20s are still forming their worldview. Big public fallout at that age would affect anyone. But Nick rejects that psychological explanation. He insists it was research, not resentment. That's the moment the energy changes, because now it's no longer about, is he offensive? It becomes, is he wrong? And those are two very different conversations. Then Adam does something smart. He rapid fires the labels. Are you racist? No. Are you anti-Semitic? No. Do you hate gays? No. It's almost like a courtroom cross-examination. Quick, direct, binary. And what you see here is something bigger than just this panel. This is a cultural clash about speech, intent, and interpretation. One side focuses on impact, the other focuses on intention. But here's what stood out to me personally. The moment things got specific, definitions, examples, direct yes or no questions, the temperature lowered. Not because everyone agreed, but because clarity replaced chaos. You don't have to agree with anyone in this clip to recognize something important. When conversations stay at the level of labels, they explode. When they move to definitions, they slow down. And that shift from emotional accusation to structured questioning is what made this moment feel like the panel got quiet. Not because minds were changed, but because the conversation finally got precise.